Hello, hello. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my Saturday Night Live. Today, we're going to do a part two regarding Mr. Elon Musk. We're going to talk about his past life experiences as Valak in the Mars colony. We're going to talk about his double, you could say, he is playing a double role. You know, there is a light version of him, which is Elon 2.0. He was replaced. The original Elon was actually pure evil. So this new Elon was replaced, and there is a double agent, or you could say his body is inhabited by two types of consciousness. You know, one is light consciousness, which is his original angelic self, which was designed to help the white hats bring in a new world, a better world, and then of course he still has his old Nephilim, you could say his old consciousness, that is also coexisting in his body. So he is a double agent. He's playing both sides. So technically, he's known as Elon the Gray. All right. We're also going to go over his connections to Cyberlife, which is a future of cyborgs that Neuralink is actually connected with. We're also going to talk about his connections and obsessions with planet Mars. Well, like I said, you know, he was very involved in the destruction of Mars through his Nephilim side. So Elon 2.0 is a double agent. He is a gray. He's got two types of consciousness that that inhabit his body. And so before I start my presentation and give you guys this info, first and foremost, I want to just let everybody know that this information is coming directly from the Galactic Alliance. I was able to access his past life in Mars and what he did 4 million years ago that led to the destruction of the Martian colony. So they say history repeats itself, but this time again, you know, it's not just the evil Elon, it's also the angelic or good Elon. And so I believe that he has a critical role to play in a timeline split that is about to take place. We're going to have a positive timeline that we are going to be going into, right? And then we're going to also have a negative timeline where the billionaires are going to be going into. Now, before I start my talk and share with you guys some of the information that the Galactic Alliance allowed me to access, I would like to first give a date. Today is the 21st of September, 2024. We are on the positive timeline trajectory, and I just want to welcome everybody to my channel. For those that haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And while you're at it, give me a like. Thank you. I would appreciate that. So on this very day, on the 21st, in 1780, during the American Revolution, General Benedict Arnold meets with British Mayor John Andrew to discuss handing over the West Point to the British in return for the promise of a large sum of money and a high position in the British Army. This plot foiled, and Arnold, a former American hero, became synonymous with the word traitor. All right, Benedict Arnold was a traitor. All right, so that's an event that took place on this very day in history. And so, yeah, let's get into some of the information that I was able to channel regarding the past life of Elon Musk and his connections to the double agent that he is today. He's playing both sides. There is a light version of him that is going to be instrumental in the development of a new era as we go into the space age, right? As we become a type 1 interplanetary civilization. And then there's a negative aspect of him that is going into a technocratic dystopia and his connections to Cyberlife, which is an organization that exists in the future. All right. So with that in mind, you know, the best way to describe this is this, okay? In our world today, a few figures inspire much fascination. One of them is Elon Musk, okay? He's at the forefront of scientific innovation. Many people call him the modern day Iron Man Tony Stark, okay? He is hailed as a genius visionary, even by Trump, revolutionizing industries from space exploration to electric cars. Yet beneath the surface, Musk's story is one of profound cosmic duality, of light and dark forces vying for control of not just the man, but the future of humanity. So Elon Musk, it appears, is not merely a man of this earth, but a vessel inhabited by two entities. One is an angelic consciousness, which is the Elon 2.0, right? The one who replaced the original one. But the other one is the spirit of a Nephilim fallen angel known as Valek, spelled Valek. And that was Elon 4 million years ago when he existed on planet Mars. So Elon Musk represents an indigo type 3 archetype, which is a rare spiritual alignment in which a soul carries both aspects, angelic and fallen angelic consciousness. So the original Elon Musk, we were told by the Earth Alliance, was entirely evil, pure dark. And so he needed to be replaced, right? So the original Elon was solely committed to the control and domination of the human race through technology and power. Okay, that was the original Elon, but he was replaced. Okay, so now he's like a double agent because he still holds the consciousness of his old embodiment known as Valek. Okay, so he was tied deeply to the consciousness of Valek that existed 4 million years ago during the Martian colony, before Mars became, desolated. A Nephilim fallen angel, Valak, who was a being that was obsessed with artificial intelligence and transhumanism, even back then, 4 million years ago. Okay. So again, history repeats itself, but now he does have the potential for good as well. Okay. So bear with me here, guys. I'm going to share a lot of information today. He played a critical role in the ancient destruction of the Martian colony, according to the galactic records. His technological obsession mirrored those we now see in Musk's drive to create a neural interface, replacing AIs and, of course, creating cyborgs. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me just repeat that again. His drive to create neural interfaces, self-replicating artificial intelligences, and cyborgs. Okay, so realizing the peril that such a being opposed to humanity, a higher intervention was needed. The original Elon was replaced by the White Hats with the help of the Galactics to ensure that there was a positive future for humanity. Okay, an upgraded version, you could say, possessing both, though, however, the fallen consciousness of Valek, who was Elon in Mars, and the light of an angelic being, as he has now been recreated. So the new Elon walks a razor-thin line between two potential futures for humanity. His actions and innovations shaping what lies ahead. So Musk's relentless drive to colonize Mars is no accident. He has said this in many interviews that he wants to go to Mars. He's obsessed with getting back to Mars, okay? Well, that's because he has a connection to Mars as Valak. So it is, in fact, a profound echo of his ancient past. As Valak, who is the evil Elon, the Nephilim, was instrumental in the fall of the Martian colony 4 million years ago, according to the galactic records. Okay, back then, Elon was deeply involved in the technological development of the Martian civilization millions of years ago. Valak, who was Elon back then, Valek, Valek's influence drove the inhabitants of Mars to pursue highly advanced forms of artificial intelligence, cybernetics, and that ultimately led to a huge population becoming transhuman. All right, so this transhumanist agenda isn't anything new, guys. All right. His obsession with transforming organic life into cybernetic entities ultimately led to the downfall of Mars, resulting in the collapsing of the ecosystem of Mars and the annihilation of its population. And now there is ample evidence through a lot of scientific, you could say, relics that was collected from the planet Mars that life once did exist on Mars. Not to mention there is a pyramid on Mars, and there is also a face on Mars representing the human face. So yes, there was once a human colony. They weren't little green men, all right? Human civilizations exist across the multiverse. So the destruction of Mars serves as a warning to our present moment Musk's deep connection to Mars is not merely a fascination, it's the steerings of a long forgotten chapter in his Nephilim consciousness, a desire to reclaim and reshape the planet that was lost under his guidance. In many ways, his desires to transform Mars to bring human civilization to its red soil, it's an effort to recreate what was lost. Through the question, though the question remains, will it be a utopian vision or will history repeat itself? Well, of course, for those that have been following me for a while, we know that there is going to be two timelines, right? We're going to have an organic timeline where humans advance through the activation of dormant DNA, provided by the activation of the 96% of our genetics, or what we call the other 10 strands, by the solar flares, right, through this great event known as the solar flash. And then there's going to be a negative technocratic timeline for those that do not do it the organic way, okay? So there are two futures, right, that we are going to be experiencing very, very soon. One of them, again, is a positive timeline, right? And that timeline will be influenced by the angelic side of Elon Musk, or what may I say, his light side. Okay. However, there is also going to be a dystopian technocratic timeline that is going to be created by Valak, which is his negative side. And that is the fallen angelic in him that is connected to the Orion syndicates. So Elon Musk is a man caught in between two worlds as I speak. On the one hand, his angelic nature compels him to create a positive future for humanity, right? One in which we transcend the limitations of Earth, colonizing planets and creating an interplanetary utopia, right? Our future lies in the stars. Okay, so that's one aspect of his good side, right? He wants to become he wants us to become a space-faring civilization, right? So in his vision, Musk work with SpaceX, Tesla, and renewable energy, which becomes a catalyst for human evolution, freeing us from the chains of dependency and scarcity, not to mention through Starlink. He is connected to the new, you could say, the new media system that is going to be taking over the airwaves, all right? And not to mention that in turn will be connected in the positive timeline to the quantum financial system, okay? So we're seeing two timelines here. Right now they're coexisting, but soon they're going to be splitting. So in this positive reality, right, in this positive future, Elon is guided by the White Hats and is working with the Galactic Alliance, okay? A group of higher beings dedicated to protecting and uplifting humanity. So his technologies in this light could bring about a golden age of freedom and space exploration as we become part of an advanced civilization. So, but on the other hand, right, because he also has to deal and contend with his Nephilim self, Valak is still very much alive within Elon, okay? This darker side remains obsessed with artificial intelligence, with merging with humanity and machine, or merging humanity and machine in a technocratic dystopia where control and surveillance becomes the norm, okay? Valak, which is the fallen entity, the evil side of Elon, it's called Valak, right? Seeks to dominate humanity, turning us into a race of cybernetic slaves through transhumanism. A fate, that mirrors the fall of Mars eons ago. His plan with Neuralink and the development of AI suggest a future in which technology no longer serves humanity but controls it, pushing us toward a future dominated by machine consciousness. So this is his evil aspect, okay? All right. So interestingly, Elon Musk is a tool for both at this time, for both light and dark, okay? The White Hats leverage his brilliance to bring a future of planetary freedom, knowing that his innovations could bring unimaginable prosperity. However, the darker forces of AI, who are in control of his dark self, Valak, still connected to Valak's consciousness, puts Elon's towards a dystopian vision, okay? His projects with AI, with his AI companies, and his insistence on developing autonomous systems are a manifestations of his dark side, one where machines eventually overpower humanity. So Elon's duality reflects the struggle we must face as a species today. On one timeline, known as the positive timeline, we will evolve into beings of higher consciousness without integrating with technology, all right? We're going to be able to travel the stars in a utopian future of light. On a different timeline, the billionaires, right, that are working with him will succumb to the shadow of artificial intelligence and transhumanism because they're going to take the lazy route, becoming cybernetic drones in a technocratic nightmare. Elon Musk is more than just a man of science and technology. He has a crucial role to play in the splitting of the timelines. He is a battleground, okay, for the soul of humanity. As both an angel and fallen angel, Musk embodies the cosmic duality of light and dark. His every innovation, every new venture carries within it the potential for both liberation and destruction. His connections to Mars, to his old consciousness known as Valak, and to the future of artificial intelligence, that makes him a pivotal figure in the evolution of our species. So yes, he's definitely not human, guys. All right. He's what you call an indigo type 3, which is where both a fallen angel and an angel are able to embody, or the consciousness of both are able to embody in the human vessel. So Elon Musk in the dark future of Project Omega. Let's talk about Project Omega. A lot of people don't talk about Project Omega, which was actually launched in 2020 by Elon Musk, but I will. So Project Omega is all about replacing humanity with machines, right? So this is referring to his evil side, his Valak consciousness. So Project Omega is about replacing humanity with machines. What we are witnessing is not just innovation for the sake of progress, it's the gradual replacement of human labor, creativity, and even consciousness itself with automatons. This dark timeline known as Project Omega, and there is no coincidence why he called it Project Omega, which correlates to the AI god, Omega Metatron, which I coined. I was the first one to reveal its name about 3 years ago, is a hidden agenda designed to shift society into a technocratic dystopia where human beings will be phased out and robots will eventually take over. But again, guys, this is not happening in the positive timeline. This is happening in the negative timeline. Right now, they're coexisting, but very, very soon, very soon, they're going to bifurcate. So at its core, Project Omega is about control, automation, and ultimately the transformation of humanity into cyborgs. The people behind this agenda, those who run big tech, call themselves the Immortals. And the reason they call themselves the Immortals is because a lot of them are already integrating with technology, right? They want to achieve immortality. They want to achieve superhuman abilities, but by taking the lazy route. So they call themselves now the Immortals, all right? And they have tied their entire plan to a global push known as 2030. But again, this is just happening. This is not going to happen in our timeline. This is going to happen only in a negative timeline. But right now they're coexisting, guys, okay? I'm not pushing any fear porn, guys. There's going to be a split in timelines, right? We're going to go into the positive timeline, right? We're not going to integrate with technology. So at the center of Project Omega lies a deeply unsettling goal to eventually replace 95% of the human workforce with automatons, okay? Through Tesla's innovations, we're talking about Elon's Tesla robots here, such as autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars, and humanoid robots. The seeds are being sown for a future where entire industries become automated. So Elon's Tesla robots in the negative timeline are designed not just to assist humans, but to eventually replace them in virtually every sector of life, from factories to retail, from logistics to even more specialized jobs like healthcare and law enforcement. This process is already underway. Okay, again, these timelines are coexisting right now, guys. Okay, they're coexisting right now. The rollout of self-driving cars is just the beginning. And this is part of Project Omega, all right? As AI systems become more advanced, these robots will handle tasks faster, more efficiently, and more precisely than humans could ever do. But there's a dark side to this efficiency: mass unemployment. All right. In the negative timeline, there's going to be, in this dystopian, it's what I call the dystopian scenario. The vast majority of the population will lose their jobs to the machines, okay, leading to a widespread displacement. Economies will shift toward full automation, and beings will be left struggling to find purpose in a world that no longer needs them. So this is going to only happen, my friends, in a negative timeline, not in the positive Earth timeline. Okay, let me just keep reiterating that, because I know some people are barely coming on the live and they're probably thinking, "Oh my God, Ishmael's speaking gloom and doom." No, it's not gloom and doom, guys. There's going to be two timelines. Right now, they're coexisting, but very soon they're going to be splitting. So, what is the connection of Neuralink? Well, let's talk about Neuralink first of all. It is in the negative timeline. It is about converting humans into cyborgs. Okay, they call it the chip. I said this in my prior live that Elon is going to lay down the foundation for the incarnation of the Antichrist, but that's only going to happen in the negative timeline. So Project Omega doesn't end with replacing humans with robots. The next phase involves the survivors, the people who remain, right? This is regarding the negative timeline. Those who are not immediately pushed out by the machines will be coerced into upgrading themselves through Elon's Neuralink technology. This brain-machine interface is designed to connect human consciousness directly to the internet. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of the concept of the Internet of Things. Well, there's this thing called the Internet of Bodies. Okay, and that's all tied into this agenda, turning people into part human, part machines. So on the surface, Neuralink is going to be marketed as a breakthrough that will help treat neurological diseases and allow for human enhancement. But beneath it, the veneer lies a much darker truth. Okay, once Neuralink becomes ubiquitous, it will be used to control and monitor human behavior. Those who refuse to adopt to the technology will be ostracized or left behind. But this is only going to happen in the negative timeline. For those that are just jumping in, this is not going to be our future reality. All right, because we're going to the positive timeline. So those that are ostracized or left behind, unable to compete in a world dominated by, again, human 3.0 cybernetic entities. Neuralink will become a tool for control in the negative timeline, not in the positive. Because in the positive timeline, all of this technology is going to be collapsed, okay? So in the negative timeline, Neuralink will become a tool for control, pushing people into a reality where they must merge with machines to survive. So apparently, Neuralink, launched by Musk in 2016, is positioned as a cutting-edge technology aimed at creating direct interface between the human brain and computers. Its stated goals range from treating neurological disorders to enabling high-bandwidth brain-to-brain communications. Neuralink works by implanting tiny electrodes into the brain, which can read neural signals and in the future write new ones back into the brain. However, some speculate that Neuralink could be a crucial stepping stone towards Cyberlife, a future program designed to catalyze the evolution of humanity by merging human biology with machines. The technology could become more than just a tool for treating diseases. It may pave the way for a transhumanist agenda where humanity voluntarily integrates with AI systems, creating a new breed known as Homo Borg. But that's not going to be us, all right? That's a different timeline, guys. So let's talk about Cyberlife. It's a covert program from the future. So Cyberlife is said to be a covert operation originating in the future. Well, its seeds have been planted now in our era, but it originated in the year 2030 and 2045. So tasked with advancing the human race. Again, this is the negative timeline, guys. All right, we're not going to be experiencing or witnessing this as a reminder. So tasked with advancing the human race beyond the current biological limitations, it is argued that the goal of Cyberlife is to create human 3.0, also known as Homo Borg, a hybrid being with a neural interface directly connected to a vast network of artificial intelligence systems. This version of humanity would represent a complete synthesis of human consciousness and machine intelligence. In this speculative narrative, Cyberlife's mission is to upgrade humanity to erase the perceived weaknesses of human 2.0, such as emotions, free will, and biological decay. Through initiatives like Neuralink, Cyberlife is believed to subtly introduce the technology needed for humanity's transition into Homo Borg. As people become more dependent on brain-machine interfaces, they will unknowingly enter a new stage of evolution where their neural networks become integrated into a larger machine-driven consciousness. And this is all part of Project Omega. Again, all roads lead to Project Omega, which was launched in 2020 by Elon Musk, okay? First, again, the negative aspect of Elon Musk. We're referring to his self known as Valak, his Nephilim self, okay? So this is a part of Project Omega, stripped away, which is going to strip away the jobs in a negative timeline, making people reliant on automations. Then, after the solution of becoming a cyborg through Neuralink, in this dark future, humans will be little more than just nodes in a vast interconnected network of AI-controlled systems. Forever enslaved, but not forever, because at the end of the millennium, we will merge with that timeline and we will have one final battle to free those human beings, okay? So let's talk about the technocrats and how they're already calling themselves the Immortals and the promise of technological immortality, through the promise of technological immortality. So Project Omega ties directly into a broader agenda that has been quietly promoted by the elites of the tech world, known as Agenda 2030. This is a global effort by big tech to create a fully automated society by the year 2030. Elon Musk is a major key player in this, but we're referring to his dark side, not the light side. Elon is two souls in one body. I've already mentioned that at the beginning of the life. But he is not alone, okay? Other tech geniuses like Amazon, and we already know who's behind Amazon, Google, and Facebook are also deeply involved in the Project Omega, as they now call themselves the Immortals. Together, they are pushing for a world where technology reigns supreme and humans are slowly phased out. So the people running this agenda call themselves apparently the Immortals. They believe that through technology, they can achieve a kind of digital immortality. This immortality will not come from spiritual enslavement or personal growth, but from uploading their consciousness into a machine. The ultimate goal of Agenda 2030 is to create a world where the elites, the Immortals, as they call themselves, can transcend their human limitations and live forever inside a very technologically and inside the very technologies that they are creating. So through advances in artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, robotics, and brain-computer interfaces like Neuralink, the Immortals believe that they can reach this technological transcendence. For them, the end game is not just to automate the world, but to ensure that their own survival and dominance in a world of their making. As part of this agenda, the average human will be left behind. But again, as a reminder, this is only happening in the negative timeline, okay? Before this happens, there will be a split where we're going to be going back to fourth and fifth and 6th Earth reality, where there is no artificial intelligence and there is no, negative technologies or evil in that case. So for the vast majority of the human race, Agenda 2030 and Project Omega represents a nightmare. I call it a technocratic dystopia, all right? A nightmare future. A technocratic dystopia apparently looms on the horizon for those that are going to be part of that timeline, where freedom and individuality and human connection and all are all sacrificed on the altar of efficiency and control. In this world, jobs will be scarce because machines are going to be doing everything. Creativity, passion, and human connections will be devalued. The immortals, as they call themselves, having transcended their physical bodies, will live in fortified enclaves, controlling the world from behind the veil of AI and cybernetic enhancements. So this all corresponds, guys, to the incarnation of the Ahriman, right? Which is the king of the archons, the AI god, and so on and so forth. So apparently they are all worshiping the AI god, which is the ultimate Satanism, the ultimate Luciferianism, right? That's what they call it, the Antichrist. Well, I call it the Antichrist because in the end, it goes against all biological life forms. It destroys life. It sucks the energy force out of life like parasites. And that's what AI has been doing across the multiverse. It's been acting like a parasite, okay? So in this negative timeline, the rest of society will be forced to adapt to this new reality. People will be given no choice but to adapt to the technologies like Neuralink, becoming cyborgs just to stay competitive, just to stay competitive in a workforce or in society, right? As they are now going to be coexisting with AI robots. The dream of immortality is, for most, a false promise, right? But for the masses, the reality is one of subjugation, where their every thought, movement, and action is monitored and controlled by the very machines that they've integrated with. So there are going to be two futures. One future, we're going to have organic humans, right? This is what I call the meta-humans, physical angels. Through the activation of our dormant DNA, we are going to achieve the same results that the immortals, technocratic immortals, want to achieve, but without the integration of technology, all right? That's what I call a positive future, right? And then there's going to be a negative future where what they call themselves, the immortals, are going to be achieving similar results, but through technological enhancements, okay? So Elon Musk's technological vision holds two vastly different futures for humanity. On the one hand, we could achieve an interplanetary utopia where technology frees us from the scarcity and suffering. But on the other hand, if Project Omega, right, and Agenda 2030 come to pass, not in our timeline, but again, it's going to come to pass in the negative timeline, we are staring down the barrel of a dystopian nightmare, one where humanity is replaced by machines, and those who remain are forced into a terrifying fusion of flesh and metal known as the biological digital convergence. The people behind Project Omega, aka the Immortals, as they call themselves now, and Elon is the head of that, by the way, of this new group, are battling on the dark future, okay, where they can control the world and achieve their own twisted version of immortality. And unless we remain discernful, vigilant, and choose the positive organic timeline, guys, we're going to be, for those that are not choosing the positive organic timeline, unfortunately, by not having knowledge of what's happening, are going to be they're going to be sold the idea of becoming immortal through technology. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be going into that reality by virtue of not having awareness of this. So as we match Elon's journey, all right, so as we see his journey unfold, we must remain strong. We know that his angelic side is going to offer the promise of an interplanetary utopia, a golden age where humanity transcends its limitations. And this is what I call the fourth D Earth, right? Where we're going to have hover cars, we're going to have replicators, we're going to have med beds, we're going to have all kinds of neat, exotic, advanced technologies with no with a decentralization of power. There's going to be no elites, right? That's what I call the fourth D Earth reality, which is not going to be a negative timeline. It's still going to be positive. And then for some of us, those that are old souls in human form, right, the star people, we're going to go into the fifth D Earth reality, where we become the natural technology through the activation of our dormant DNA. Therefore, we won't be depending on external technology. We're going to be using our own abilities to manifest, to teleport, to travel, to create as we think. Okay, but Elon's Nephilim self, which is still which is still being influenced by Valak, right, his old Martian self, could lead us toward a dystopian future of artificial control and cybernetic enslavement, but not us, but again, the negative timeline. So, yeah, let's see. So the question we ask of ourselves at this time is, which side are you going to choose on? Will you choose to be on? So again, Elon represents a duality, guys. He is both light and dark. One aspect of himself, the light aspect, is going to lead us into the positive timeline, right? Fourth, the earth. And the negative aspect of him is going to lead the immortals and those billionaires that want to go into that side or that timeline into a technocratic dystopia. So with that in mind, I do want to open it up for some Q&A at this time. Does anybody have any questions? If you guys could also write your questions in capital letters, that would be great. Do you guys have any questions at this time? I choose the positive timeline. Well, thank you. So do I. So again, the whole point of the story is that Elon has two consciousnesses or two entities within his body. One is of the light and one is of the dark. If you guys don't believe me about Project Omega, look it up. He initiated that in 2020, all right? And that is his dark version. No, will we all lose our memories in the cloud? Not at all. No, no, no. See, the cloud, this idea of being hooked to the Borg is only going to happen in the negative timeline, not in the positive timeline. Let's see if I could take questions from my phone. Somebody wants to know more of my royal lineage. Well, all right. So, I don't really want to go too much into detail, but according to my grandmother and my mother, my whole family ancestry is shrouded in mystery. Apparently, my great grandfather he was in line to become king of Spain at the end of the 1800s. This is my great great grandfather. And so he was exiled. You could say he was exiled, and he was replaced by King Juan Carlos. And so the reason being is because my great grandfather was a just man. He was a righteous man, and he wasn't aligned with the Vatican. And so the Vatican wanted to depose of him. So he was exiled from Spain. And so My great grandfather, in order to preserve his bloodline, decided to move over to South America. And then from South America, my grandfather was born. Then he moved over to Mexico, because they spoke Spanish in those countries. And so, unfortunately, by the time my grandfather was born, in order to continue the family, you could say, wealth, he decided to do business with the godfather of Italy. So he became part of the Italian mafia. So my grandfather became evil, not my great grandfather. My great grandfather was good, right? As to why he was exiled, right? Apparently, the Vatican wanted to kill him off. So he was told 2 weeks in advance that the Vatican was after him, that the Vatican was going to end his bloodline. And so my great grandfather was, he decided to flee. So he escaped the prosecution and he, decided to leave the throne of Spain, even though he was next in line to be king of Spain. And his son became evil. His son struck the deal with the godfather of Sicily, not the godfather of Italy, the Cosa Nostra Mafia, and he became, one of the dons. And so he was hoping to inherit his empire to his firstborn, but he never had a male born. He had my mother, and then he had 9 daughters after that. And then my mother had me. I was her first male born. So when I was born, he said, "I'll just groom my grandson into taking over the family empire." And luckily, when I was 5, my grandmother and my mother came to the States in order to get me away from the influence of my evil grandfather, not my great grandfather, right? Those are 2 different people. So yeah, that's just a little history of my family background in a nutshell. So if I were to have been influenced, or say if I would have been groomed by my grandfather, I would have never been who I am today. I would have never written my books or done my research or anything. I would have, eventually taken over his position, his mafia empire, and not, But luckily, they took me away from that when I was a kid, so that way he didn't influence me. And even if he tried influencing me, I would have never I would have never done what he did. You know what I mean? I probably would have, how can I say it? Um, I would have renowned. Yeah, I would have left his family business, the family business. I would have just, I probably would have left the country just to get away from him. But yeah, that's a quick history in a nutshell. So my great grandfather was the one that was persecuted by the Vatican, but he was next in line to be king of Spain because his lineage goes back to King Solomon and King David. Okay, so I am a descendant of King Solomon and King David, but the Vatican did not want the descendants of King David to be in power. So that's why my great grandfather had to flee in the late 1800s, at the beginning of the 1900s. Yes, I do come from the Magdalene bloodline, you could say. Basque. That's what they call the Basque people. Yes, that's right. As by virtue of having all these, alien genetics in us, we are royalty to the galactics by virtue of that. Yes, absolutely. I'm just looking for questions, guys. If you guys have questions, I am a firm believer that Elon is the reincarnation of Edison. Well, Edison also, he was financed by J.P. Morgan in the cabal. So Edison wasn't a good guy himself. Nikola Tesla was the good guy, the real genius. In fact, I believe Edison stole some of his ideas. Right? Edison was working with the cabal. In my next book, I'm going to write more about the history of my family, how it ties into Solomon and King David, about my mother, how she suffered under the rule of my grandfather who became corrupt, um, and yeah, my mother died at the age of 39. She was young when she passed away. I was only 16 years old. She suffered a lot. Explain the split. Okay, so the split is going to happen as a result of the solar flash. So right now, both positive and negative timelines are coexisting, but very soon, I believe at solar maximum, right now we're at the beginning of solar maximum, but it peaks in April of 2025. But some believe that it might happen at the end of this year. Who knows? But when the solar flash takes place, the AI infrastructure that is going to be built by the negative Elon, right, is going to be destroyed. And then we're going to go into a timeline where there is no AI, there is no negative technologies. Everything's going to be positive. There's going to be no more evil, no more reptilians, no more grays, no more elites. It's going to be a world where everyone is uplifted. Thank you. Yeah, she died young, fortunately, but she's still with me in spirit. Yeah, my grandfather thought he was cursed because after my mother was born, he had all females. So I have 9 aunts, my mother being the first. He had 10 daughters. So apparently he wasn't meant to have his first male born, because he chose the dark side. He chose to align with the godfather of Italy. And the godfather gave him, due to the bloodline, he allowed him to have all this power. And so my grandfather was in charge of, this huge international cartel involving the Argentinians, the Colombians, and so on and so forth. The Europeans. I mean, he was pretty big up there in his in his connections with the Godfather, and he wanted me to take over that. And my God, it's a good thing that they got me away from him. But like I said, my consciousness is so angelic that I would have just denied him. I would have said, "Sorry, grandfather, I cannot do what you do. You have no heart. You have no consciousness. I do." Yeah, we're going to be going to the positive timeline, so we're not going to be witnessing the bad Elon, right? Just to point that out, Elon does have a light consciousness in him, and that's when they replaced him. Excuse me. Well, the Greys and the reptilian aliens have already been part of the AI timeline, right? The Greys are for the most part robotic life forms, programmed life forms, and the reptilians are part cybernetic. Yes, TV shows and movies are still going to exist in the 4th and 50 timelines, of course, but they're all going to be geared towards spiritual evolution. So, we're going to be learning about the cosmic and galactic history, for instance. Hopefully, I'll be one of the professors or, you know, part of that university. Yeah, the Zetas are the worst. That's correct. Yeah, they come from Zeta Reticula 1 and 2. It's known as the Rombola system. The chat is going so fast. Do you think we're going to still see a big move before the end of the year? Um, it's possible. It's possible. I see a lot of mixed feelings about Elon. Some people believe he's good, some people believe he's bad. But again, as revealed in my presentation today, he's both, right? He's both. No, no, the timeline split is going to happen way before 2030. How do you know if you're not human? Well, for the most part, if you are not human, well, first and foremost, you're going to have your special abilities. You're going to be an intuitive empath. You're going to be able to sense things before they happen. You're going to be able to read people's thoughts, people's energy fields. Um, you're going to be able to communicate with your star family for once. Um, there's a many indicators that will tell you if you're not human. But technically, none of us are human, guys. We're multidimensional spiritual beings currently experiencing human form. I remember that. No, the timeline hasn't split yet. The catalyst for the timeline split is the solar flash. Is Bigfoot good or evil? You must be referring to the Sasquatch or the Yeti. They're actually good. I believe that the EBS is still gonna come to pass. Absolutely. Like I said, 45, soon to be 47, signed a global peace treaty that is going to completely halt the nuclear war from taking place when they try to launch the Third World War, which is in progress. But that's when the White Hat military is going to, through Project Odin, take over the airwaves. They're going to use their technology to neutralize the missiles and prevent a nuclear holocaust for sure. I do have a super chat from is it Sparita? Let me put my glasses on. Sarita Lama, the role of Andromeda starseeds at this time. Well, the Andromedan starseeds come from the ninth dimension, and the Andromedans are very angelic-like. In fact, it is believed that the archangels come from the Andromeda galaxy. So yeah, that's if you're an Andromedan starseed, that means you are a ninth dimensional soul in a human form. Are we going to see galactic ships soon? I hope so. I hope we do. Definitely in the positive timeline, of course. Once the solar flash takes place and we shift into fourth D, fifth D Earth, the extraterrestrial civilizations are already going to be there, here, living among us. All right. In fact, they're coexisting now, but in a different vibration or a different dimension. So once we shift to that higher reality Earth, the ships and everything's going to already be here. Well, it is believed that 45, soon to be 47, along with RFK, are going to put an end to the chemtrails and all the toxins that they're putting in the foods. It's going to be a beautiful health campaign where they are going to take away the fluoride from the water, from the toothpaste. So yeah, all that stuff is coming to an end very, very soon. What's my take on the date on November 5th? Again, guys, from the Galactics, this is coming from the Galactics. Trump, okay, 45, 47 is inevitable. He's coming back no matter what. Uh-oh, I just did something to my live. What did I do? Oh no, what did I do? um oh God. See, I don't really know how the technology works. Oh, there we go. I just fixed it. I gotta stop touching my computer here. I'm here, guys. I'm back. I accidentally touched my laptop and I don't know what I did, but I'm back. How can I be frozen? I see myself. Yes, I am not very techy, guys. I don't do technology. All right, one more question, guys. One more question. You guys are funny. Will we be able to travel to an island with the speed of light? This is from Jojo Starbuck. Well, yeah, in fifth dimensional Earth, you're going to be using your consciousness. See, we're going to be using a technology that involves our consciousness. So, of course, you're going to be able to project yourself and travel at the speed of light, and your body is going to dematerialize, right? As we use our light body, our Merkaba, and then rematerialize wherever you're projecting yourself to be. So the answer to that is absolutely. All right, one more question. Will the King David bloodline reunite? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. And like I said, there's millions of us. It's not just me, guys. There's millions of us that are descendants of King David and Solomon. Or Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It's in the millions, their descendants. Well, I think that Jesus's descendants are going to rule and reign in the positive dimension or in the millennium. Absolutely. But we're not going to rule. Like, we're just going to be like the council. We're going to bring it back to the council where, the just, the righteous are going to be able to guide and mentor everyone else. Gemini Moon, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, thank you for all that you do for everyone. Waking the masses is a beautiful thing to do. So many people are channeling these days. How do we know they're not channeling evil ones acting like the light? The Bible says, beware of false prophets. That's a very good question. This is where I always remind you guys to use your intuition and also use discernment when it comes to listening to anybody, including myself, guys. Question everything, question all the truthers, all the influencers out there, and most importantly, do your own research, guys. Do your own research. All right, with that in mind, I hope you guys have a beautiful evening today on the 21st of September, 2024. And I will see you guys this Monday night for a Y-Hat Earth Alliance update. Let's see what the Galactics have to say. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.